Let us begin.
Hooray.
3, 2, 1. Don't start the game yet. Sorry, I didn't think about that.
I was like, wait.
Go.
No, don't start the game yet. I bet. I'll tell you. I'll tell you when to start.
I'll be obedient.
Okay, good. Hello, hi, welcome to Dear PB, a podcast where we hopefully help you become a better speedrunner, but probably won't. I'm Corva May, but you can call me May, or she, or her.
I'm Swoos. You can call me SWC, or he, or they.
Hi. Was this my cue?
No, I forgot that I'm supposed to introduce you.
Okay.
And joining us
have a
today from Land's End, it's Keizaron. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I guess I can't English right now. Apparently, I have a cough drop in my mouth, so yeah, that's great.
Why do you have a cough drop in your mouth? Did we catch you at an inopportune time to be recording a podcast using your voice?
Yes, indeed, very much. It's very impressive how at this time of year there's this lovely thing going around called COVID-19, and I was the lucky recipient to receive a light variant of it.
If you're listening to this podcast from the future, that was back in the before times when we were allowed on the surface.
Also, welcome to 2032.
Welcome to 2032. That's not that far in the future for nobody to be on the surface. Oh, man.
Imagine, no.
So, Keys is here, and he's going to run a game. It's called Ender Lilies. Quietus
Not
of
just
the
me that can't
Nidus.
English.
I nailed every word in that title, just 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm going to count you down, and you can
All
start
right.
in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hooray. So I'm a
This
little
is your
girl.
first time listening to our podcast, and maybe you've seen it on Spotify or one of the other places that we're actually on now.
Whoa.
And you're like, what are they talking about? What do you mean you're doing a run? There's a visual component of this podcast that you
Oh my
can
God.
watch on the YouTube if you're the kind of person who wants some visual stimulus while you listen to stuff. It's not required to get the full experience. It's just a little bonus thing you can look at in the background. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, I don't want to watch things, I want to listen to things, you can get it on your podcast app of choice by looking up Dear PB. That's my advertisement for the thing that you're currently watching.
If you're not watching this or listening to this, how?
So if you're not familiar with Keys is does some stuff with the Pokemons sometimes, I've been told. Is that correct?
Sometimes, yeah. Every now and again, once in a blue moon.
Sometimes does some stuff on GDQ, I've been told as well.
That one I lived there.
But I'm not interested in the present because, as we've mentioned, if for some people in the present you're in the underground, non-surface lands, so the present's kind of a bummer. I'm interested in Keys origins.
Whoa.
We like to start out. I say we like to start out as if we have like a routine that we've really done.
We totally do.
We've had one episode, but why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into speedrunning? Just confirm your bona
love
fides.
telling this story because this story makes zero sense. I had moved to Los Angeles because that's where my partner at the time lived. And while I was looking for jobs, I was really, really bored. And I was just looking for some music to listen to. For some reason, I was looking up gangster rap. I can't remember why. But for whatever reason, Father YouTube's algorithm says gangster rap. Ah, yes, you must like Pokemon Crystal speedruns.
No, that
makes sense. I don't see the difference there.
But yeah, so I saw Pokemon Crystal speedrun by Worcester, which really threw me off because I didn't know you could speedrun the game, but it was my favorite Pokemon game ever. So I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. I wonder if I'm able to do this. And then my stupid ass decided, hey, I'm going to start speedrunning this game. And that's kind of how I got into speedrunning in general.
Cool. Sometimes we do more questions about yourself, but I think this time we're gonna get into some of the questions that we have from the audience, and we'll circle back and get some more Keys lore later on. Yeah. Don't worry. If you're not aware, this is a podcast where you send in questions and then we answer them using our our combined many years of speedrunning expertise. Combined is doing a lot of heavy lifting there for me in particular.
Yeah.
Our first question. Dear PB, this one's long, by the way, so just buckle down for a second. This one's really long. Dear PB, like many others, I started speedrunning this year as a result of the pandemic and wanted a hobby that could be done safely in the comfort of my home. My interest has always been in speedrunning and not necessarily in broadcasting my runs on Twitch and building up a presence on that platform. I rarely stream my speedruns, and when I do, I put in minimal effort into viewer experience. It's not that I am not interested in streaming, it's more that I am not equipped with a good streaming setup, and I would have to jump through hoops at work to sign an affiliate agreement should I pursue that path. My concern is that I am impairing my ability to connect and talk with other runners and community members that want to watch and interact with runners by not streaming. I feel like relationships are strengthened by having others visit your channel and you reciprocating. Watching runners consistently and listening to them seems like the perfect way to make yourself visible beyond what you type on Discord or in Twitch chat. Is streaming integral to being a good, visible member of the speedrunning community? Are there other things that you would recommend to focus on instead to integrate myself more into the communities that I am a part of? From Offline Runner in Virginia.
Good Lord. That was a huge question.
It was really long. It's like, so I like have a doc where I compile all the questions. It is it's about half the page. We are not dragging you, Offline Runner in Virginia. It is simply a long question.
It's not your fault.
Long questions are good. It means you have serious thoughts.
It's a good question.
It is a good question. So I only know one person who primarily does offline runs, and it's mostly because they don't want to. They never stream. Sluice.
Is it me? Yeah,
it is you.
I was about to say. Yeah, I mean, I stream regularly is a very loaded word there. I stream when I stream. But I do a lot of offline runs just because I don't really feel like streaming half the time. I mean, it's fine to do offline runs. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're recording pretty much and you have something that you can submit. As for the being part of the community, you just be a part of the community, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a Discord to join, or to be in, interact with people there. You don't necessarily need to stream yourself to be a part of the community, I think, as long as you kind of, I don't know, put yourself out there in the spaces for the community that you have.
The hat community actually is pretty like non-streamy. And
that is true.
There are a bunch of communities that are like that, especially you'll see a lot with like slower games too, where like it might not be a super like enjoyable streaming experience for a lot of people unless you're like really engaged with the specific game in question. Like when I tried running Shenmue, which is a game that has an insane amount of waiting around, not a great stream experience for a lot of people. I had people in my chat be like, could you stream anything else, please? This sucks. So like you're definitely not alone in that. There are definitely people who also there are people who who prefer offline runs just because they find it easier to focus.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the reason that I do it too. Like for some things, if it's something that I want to focus on and not really want to get distracted by having a chat and also not wanting to feel like I'm completely ignoring people in the stream, I would just do something offline. Just make sure you record it, because nothing hurts more than getting a good PB and not having any proof of it, which I've done a billion times.
You do it a lot.
I'm always like, all right, this run, or I'm de-rusting. It'll be fine. I'm not going to record. Then I PB by like 40 seconds. And it's like, I should have recorded that.
De-rusting is the easiest way to PB.
Yeah. The best way to PB is to stop running for 6 months and then come back and vaguely remember what you're doing and then somehow save a ton of time.
I'm actually I feel like kind of the opposite personally, because like whenever I do offline runs, I space out real bad because I like lose interest. I don't have anything to keep my attention.
That's fair. I get distracted too, like on my phone and stuff. And then I'm like, oh, the game started. I just lost 10 seconds because I was looking at Twitter or something. Yeah.
Yep.
Another thing, just because you're not streaming doesn't mean you can't be on Twitch, obviously. So you can spend time in other people's chats that also run your game. Because especially if you have a smaller game, a lot of the times a lot of the people that run the game are going to kind of gravitate towards whoever's streaming at the time. So you'd still be kind of a part of the community while just hanging out there, even if you're not super active in chat or whatever.
Yeah, you can also like the two things that you listed as not being like as reasons to not stream, despite like a possible interest in it being like not having good setup and affiliate. You don't have to sign the affiliate agreement if you reach that, if that's not something you care about. And honestly, the only thing you need for your streaming setup to be good enough is like a functional microphone.
Even then,
no, you need a functional microphone. I'm gonna die on this hill. And like, you can get away with some pretty bad video. You can't get away with a bad mic.
Well, it's either a functional mic or no mic. That's
yeah. Sorry, that is fair. You could also stream with no mic.
That's what I was getting at. Having a bad mic is a lot worse than not having one at all. I've seen more than enough people just type in chat as like the streamer.
Yep.
And that's fine, honestly.
A lot of people watch speedruns on Twitch largely as a sort of like podcast type of thing where they are doing other stuff while they're doing it. And so like, even if your video quality is not great, as long as your audio quality is good enough, then you should be fine, which is the whole way that this podcast functions. Do you got any opinions on this for us, Keys?
I mean, nothing that hasn't already been said. One thing I did kind of want to pivot back to was there are a lot of people that are associated with GDQ that really aren't streamers anymore, but like they're really heavily integrated into the speedrunning scene just because they are in GDQ. So, you don't necessarily have to stream to be in a community.
We might have one of those on our show. It might happen.
Whoa.
What? Uh-oh. Just a little bit
Spoilers.
of a sneak peek. Hold on, let me pull up my other document.
So many documents.
It's because I have like my general like notes, and then I have my questions document, and they're in different tabs because I also have the run open, and then speed control, and then a whole blank space in this other monitor I'm not using that I'm going to track something to now. There we go. Another question for our guest of the week. What's your comfort run?
My comfort run. I don't actually know because I've never actually thought of that before. I guess it's not like a real run because it's a randomizer, but I guess that like counts. Crystal bingos are kind of just comfort runs for me.
Is there a timer running?
For me right now?
No, like when you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, it's a run.
It counts. Yes.
But yeah, like that's just one that kind of like tests my knowledge of the game and kind of keeps me sharp, and I still learn a new thing every now and again doing that. So it's just kind of neat to do. Don't have to really worry too much about a competitive aspect of it too, because it's a randomizer. There's really no competition in randomizers.
Well, unless you're racing someone.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh, another question from the community. Dear PB, I run a long game with lots of mindless sections. How do I find peace during these sections and not get caught up thinking about the pandemic hellscape we live in? Thanks. From Anxious Autopilot. Any thoughts on that one, Squad?
I'm just someone who gets so caught up in my runs, I don't really think about anything that's going around. So I might not be the best answer for this one.
This is why it's good that we had you on to do a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
So I run a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah, you run Autoscroller.
I run Autoscrollers, the game. And so there's a ton of mindless sections to do stuff on. And I also have generalized anxiety disorder.
Hooray!
So I feel this in a lot of ways. And honestly, the problem I have more is spacing out, like specifically getting super, super anxious. What I will sometimes do is like get to a point where I'm trying to kill my own runs because I'm like, I don't know, killed the vibe of my own wanting to be in the run, especially if I'm like if I'm behind pace and things like that.
I feel that one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or like I'm like an hour into a run and then I look at the clock and I'm like, oh crap, there's stuff I want to do tonight and I want to go to bed at a reasonable time and there's still 3 hours left in this stupid game that I'm probably gonna die 2.5 hours into anyways. So what if I just lost? I do that a little bit too much.
I
It's
always
not
love
great.
looking for excuses to reset, but not just immediately doing it.
I love resetting. It's my favorite thing to do. And I guess the thing that helped me most with that is just having somebody else to talk to during it. So if like chat's active, that does it. But obviously that's not reliable. And something I was doing for a while that I actually liked a lot is just to do runs with somebody else in voice chat. I don't know. I find it helps a lot for like my general mindset just to have somebody else to talk to. And I've been seeing a lot of people actually do that more recently too. Is like I've seen Discords where people will just like have like 4 or 5 people, and like 2 or 3 of them are just doing different offline runs, but just chatting. Especially like in the Pokemon community, where again there's a lot of like mindless mashing. Just because it gives you a lot of it just keeps your mind off things and it makes it a much more social experience.
Yeah, I had a group of people like back then, like when I was really heavy into Pokemon speedrunning, that like we would do that too. There'd be like 4 or 5 of us that would just get in like a group chat.
I think it's
kind of
smart.
cheer each other on.
Yeah, especially like it's good too if like you don't want to do a run, but you also don't want to like, but you also like want to talk too, because like if you're just watching somebody stream, then that's different than like actually talking to somebody with your human voice.
As opposed to your
as opposed to the robot voice you were doing when we were setting up
this
today when your mic wasn't working.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I have like one auto scroller in a game I run, and I just look at Twitter, which is not really good for helping out your mental state. So my suggestion is not good. But
it's also like a 40-second auto scroller.
It is only 40 seconds.
It's not very long.
But yeah, just I guess remaining social and not really leaving yourself to your own thoughts is good advice.
I will say, if you are going to do this route, don't fill your VC with people who are going to make you more anxious. Don't do that.
Also, don't get too distracted.
No, do that. I do that all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really
lose all your runs to being too social.
Exactly. I've never done that before. Nope. Never once done that. I like that your dash move in this game is kind of just like a faceplant.
Yeah, it gets upgraded eventually. Not quite yet, but we'll get there eventually. Oh, wow. Okay. I have literally never died there before. Speedrun podcast indeed.
Oh my god, the video's so delayed.
This has never happened before.
If you're watching this post-editing, which all of you are, it won't be delayed because we'll have synced it up.
Sure.
But for me, watching here in the past, I'm in the past.
Definitely the past.
In the past, if you're listening to it from the... So I was thinking, like,
if you're listening to this before we recorded it, you need to go talk to some scientists.
Let me explain myself. So I was like, well, I'm in the past, or the video's in the past to where I am now. So I'm wrong. So I was in the future relative to the video, but I'm in the past relative to the listener. Anyways, do you have a speed game you've been dying to talk about?
So this game's pretty cool. I wish it got more attention. So Ender Lilies is like a super duper awesome Metroidvania. The problem is it came out and 2 weeks later, Nintendo was like, "Hey, Metroid Dread," and I'm just like, "Ah, crap."
Yeah.
So this did not get any attention at all. But
it has colorblind options now.
Yeah, I'm not playing on a patch that does have that, but
that sucks.
Fair.
But yeah, that's about the only thing that I didn't like about the game was I have really bad color deficiency. It's not clinically color blindness, but like I took a pretty bad concussion when I was younger, so I do struggle with colors pretty similarly. And there's one section in the game that is red on red on red on red, and it's not enjoyable.
Yeah, it seems quite bad.
I have red green, some mild color blindness, so that's rough.
I don't have any color issues, but I also don't think I'd like red on red on red and red just doesn't seem good.
Yeah, just from
No.
any point of view, it's
Yeah, it's just an interesting choice. Sorry, say positive things about the game.
Anyways,
I mean,
Don't
the
ignore
combat's a
me.
lot of fun.
I like
That's
your big
always a
sword.
good thing.
If you're listening to this and not watching it, she has a big sword.
Yeah, so the way that the combat works is the main character isn't actually the one doing the fighting. You get a bunch of spirits and you basically just summon them as you're fighting.
Like the Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah.
Isn't that like Persona?
Or Persona, yeah.
Whoa.
But there's not a lot less jazz in this than there is in Persona, which
Is that a positive or a negative?
no, it's a negative. Music's not that the music's here is bad necessarily, but talk more about why this is a cool run on our speedrunning podcast.
Yeah. So this I'm doing a category called All Spirits, which is basically like the official category for a boss rush type thing. So spirits and sub spirits are the bosses and mini bosses that you fight. And there's a decent amount of them. I would say the actual number of them, but I actually don't remember off the top of my head. But this is just kind of a neat way to play like a good majority of the game without actually investing the time that it would take to do like 100% run, which is more of my category.
Are there more or fewer bosses than Hollow Knight, which I know has like 94,000?
Yeah, Hollow
I think
Knight
that's
doesn't count for
accurate,
any
yeah.
boss thing. That thing has like 5 billion bosses.
And it's like 58 or something. I don't know. Don't correct me, please, in the comments. I don't care.
But yeah, like combat is pretty fluid for the most part. Anyone who speed runs this, man, English is really good today. Anyone that speeds runs, yep. You might drop some inputs here and there. I think that's more because we're just mashing so fast that sometimes the game doesn't register it. That's probably how I lose most of my runs. Technically, this run would have died already because I died to one boss that you have no business dying to. But you know,
I like that you could skip cutscenes. I wish the games that I ran let you do that.
Oh, you mean Pokemon and Pokemon and mostly Pokemon?
The other one, the Pokemon one.
Yeah. Hey, Hat also, you can only skip cutscenes if it's the end of a level.
My favorite part about Pokemon
It's 8
cutscene
seconds.
skips is that there's options to do that, and you don't really do it.
And what?
Like Let's Go has like 900 cutscenes, but only 5 of them are skippable.
Yeah, the skip movies, but it's only pre-rendered movies, so you could skip 18 seconds. Ugh.
Hey, that's 18 seconds you don't have to watch a cutscene in.
It has a bigger effect in Sword
Out
and
of like
Shield,
30
but it's
minutes.
still the same concept, so you still have to watch like 90% of it. Dear PB, when looking at potential games to speedrun, what do you most look for? Conversely, what one thing turns an otherwise great speed game into a not very good one? From Insomnia. I'm gonna open this up.
Music.
Okay.
Really?
Especially the first 5 minutes, because you're gonna hear that a lot.
How do you feel about Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl?
Okay, so you know, because of the lack of music to go fast, you see.
For context, this is my one contribution to BDSP glitch hunting, is that we actually play the game with the music off, which I discovered because I turned on song requests when I was just like grinding something, which I like will sometimes do, and then noticed that all the little item jingles got skipped, and it actually saves like 3 minutes. It's crazy. But then everyone got really mad at me for ruining the game.
Just forces you to listen to your own music. What's wrong with that? Just listen to the game's OST in the background.
I do like a good as somebody who only runs games with good music. I definitely feel that.
Yeah, me too. That's definitely not something that I think of, but I understand how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Thought of.
It's like I'm only going to run games that I like. Like I don't have a ton of interest in running games that I don't like, which I see is crazy. I know. And so
Whoa.
like I tend to not like games that don't have good music,
Right.
just like subconsciously. Big turn off for me is anything that has a like huge, like completely unmitigatable RNG thing at the way end. Not a huge fan. I know I run Pokemon, so that doesn't sound like a thing that I care about, but it is. Like I looked into running Chibi Robo. Did I mention this last week?
Hey, I've heard this before. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this last week. Yeah, Chibi Robo was a 50-50 at the end, like
Yeah.
2 hours in, and I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this last week too, but a game with a really high skill floor, like you need to
Yeah.
know a ton of stuff before doing it. I don't really like that because I like, at the very least, being able to have like a put together run as a beginner without needing to learn like everything.
My first speed game,
and just being able to do it.
I practiced like 140 hours before I was actually able to do runs. I don't think I would do that again, just because like
Yeah. If you need that much before you are able to do a like reasonable run, then I do not like that. But
yeah,
if you can like put in a little effort and like learn some simple speed tech or something, then that's fine. But
yeah, I also apparently don't like games that are less than 3 hours. I guess that's not actually true, but it does feel like it.
Can confirm. Every time I watch you, it's 3 hour plus.
Yeah, it's not great, especially because I work, and so like after work, I'm like, time to do a run. All right, well, I have to be done at a certain time, or else I'm gonna get fired from my job that actually pays me money. And so,
yeah, I mostly run shorter games.
That's because you're smart.
Partially because I wanted to, because I used to do some stuff on YouTube about making tutorials for games. I didn't want to have them be 3 hours long each. So I kind of selected shorter games that were interesting just to be able to put that stuff out.
I don't think I've speedrun. I think this is the shortest game I've ever speedrun. And even then, it's over an hour.
Yeah, shortest I've run is definitely Hat. Well, I guess technically it's Poke Clicker, but I don't count that. That's that's a very different thing.
I used to run like 2D Mario games, like not super seriously. So I guess those like World is like 15 minutes, but
longest
Super Liminal is my shortest that I do consistently.
That makes sense. I think the longest thing I ever did tried more than like once or twice was like 7 hours. That was too.
Longest thing I did was 50 hours. That's cool.
That was it. Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
All challenges. I did the first run of it, and it was over 2 days long. That was awesome.
That sounds really cool and also fun.
When you have a run that you can lose time for because you oversleep, there's a problem. I lost like 2 hours because I slept too late. So...
Keys, who have you learned the most from?
What's that?
Who have you learned the most from?
Oh gosh, that's actually a really good question. Honestly, probably etiquette.
Not like how to use Excel or like about speedrunning?
Both, honestly. But no, like the person that I would do a bunch of Pokemon stuff with, like simultaneously, when I was really into Pokemon speedrunning, was etiquette. We'd be in calls all the time, whether we were doing streams together or just like routing. I remember when Let's Go first came out, and we spent like 40 of the 48 hours the game was out and just talked strats and like ideas and all this stuff, and just a lot of different aspects of Pokemon speedrunning I've learned because of him.
That checks out. He knows quite a lot.
He's a smart cookie.
Go check out etiquette. On our possible guest list. Fun fact. Oh. Crazy.
So is like everybody else.
Shut up.
If you're a speedrunner,
it's cooler to say it if it's like an exclusive club.
It is. Like, you need to be a speedrunner. Not everyone's a
page and a half long. Dear PP, if you could learn a run from any runner, what would you choose? From Celestial Crab.
A run from any runner.
A run from any runner.
This is gonna sound like such a cop out, but like it's a genuine answer. I want to learn Hollow Knight from Emre.
Wow, that's so cute.
She's so passionate about the game, and it's not that I don't have the same passion for the game. It's I don't know anything about it in a speedrun context, and
Well,
I promised I would learn it one day, and I just haven't.
it also looks very hard. I think
It
Emory has like
does seem like it's hard.
3,000 hours in that game.
I planned on learning the game, but the speedrun patch did not work well with my computer.
Yeah. You wouldn't. I would learn how to run a hat in time any percent from SWC 19.
Whoa, you can
on
do
YouTube.
that.
You could do that using the tutorial.
Whoa, me too. I wish I could learn how to run the game.
I was in the process last week of learning Mass Effect 1 from Sanjan, and I was having a good time with that, except for the fact that the game on my computer would just hard crash, which was super cool.
Ooh.
Oh, great.
I don't know why. I think it has
That's
to do
fun.
something with like a patch I installed to fix some textures that like is supposed to work and just was not playing nice with the graphics card. So I would finish doing that.
Mass Effect's one of those games that I love. I love Mass Effect casually. I've lost thousands of hours to it, but I don't know if I could ever bring myself to speedrun it because I have to make decisions that I don't want to make.
You don't really have to make decisions in Mass Effect 1. You skip most of the decisions. It's very glitched. You skip most of the decisions. There's one decision that you have to make, but you were forced to make that decision in the game anyway. So like, also it's not even the canonical. It's not your canonical run. It's fine.
It's true.
It still hurts my feelings a little bit. I want to save everyone.
That's fair. You do actually the big. I don't want to spoil Mass Effect 1, a game that came out 14 years ago, but the big choice at the end of the game,
wink, wink,
wink, wink. Both are viable options. It's a runner preference thing.
So it doesn't mean anything, is what you're saying.
No, it does affect the run. It's just whichever you like. There's pros and cons to either.
Fair.
Because the resources available to you at the end of the run differ based on which decision that you've made, and it just depends on which you'd prefer. If you haven't played Mass Effect, you should play Mass Effect. It's very good.
You should play Mass Effect. It's a good game. Also, you get to drive the Mako. Okay, so that I know.
I love the Mako so much.
For why? What?
Okay, so I really like janky cars in video games, and the Mako is peak janky car in video game. Like when I played Oblivion, one of my favorite things was just to drive horses up mountains.
I was about to say, what car is in Oblivion?
A horse? What is a horse if not a 1.8 horsepower car?
Is that what they mean when they say manual car?
Yeah, if your car has a manual transmission, there's actually a horse operating gearbox.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, people don't know that. But like, that's a true fact about cars. This is a podcast about speedrunning and automotive.
Yeah, this is my favorite car podcast.
Yeah,
I'm learning so much about cars. I'm so excited.
What other things do I once convinced a friend of mine. So I was in Memphis, Tennessee, and my friend was complaining about drivers not using their turn signals. Ooh. And I convinced a different friend of mine that in the state of Tennessee, turn signals are a manufacturer add-on and not required. And so it's just like a luxury thing if you want your car to be a little bit safer, but it's not necessary. And he believed me until my friend like lost their mind laughing.
Yeah. Did you know that the Mustang is the first manual car because they couldn't really think of any names and they just used a Mustang in their gearbox?
It's a horse inside of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's like a robotic horse. What cars are just the automaton horse.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, you know those like Boston Robotics, what is it called?
Yeah. Yeah.
They have like
those ones.
Yeah, like the robots that are like four-legged walking robots. That's just an attempt to make a more natural car. That's the natural evolution of the car.
So
Keith, what
anyways,
achievement are you most proud of in your speedrunning / automotive career?
I'm more interested in the automotive career one, but you can say either.
Well, I might have to take a rain check on the question until after this particular fight, because this is not going great.
Hold on, let me go to my backup list of questions.
Oh no.
Swoos, what's a strat that makes you say, how did anyone ever come up with that?
Okay, so I thought of this question because the other day I saw that somebody beat the world record for Banjo-Kazooie any %. And I'd known about this strat, and it's weird. So you play on the Xbox 360 version, and I don't know how it's done, but you end up dying in like the pre-game demo that's on like the title screen. So it has like Banjo going through all the different worlds and like running around and stuff. So you die in Rusty Bucket Bay, which is the second to last level. And after you die in there, the game puts you in game in the level before on like a new file, and you have all the moves and stuff.
So it just skips up to that point.
So no, but yes, because you still need to unlock like the last, like you still need to unlock stuff to get to the end of the game. But the run itself is an hour, and that's part of it. And I have no idea how someone figured out, if you die in the pre-game demo, you'll load into the level, and then you can do a ton of other glitches to move around the hub from there.
Also, I feel like rare games are like chock full of these like menu moves in Donkey Kong 64, where it's just like loading up specific cutscenes and stuff, and then having them play out in the background. It's like, what?
It's Banjo-Kazooie is a very, very cool broken game. There's another trick where you die in like the game show section at the end of the run, and then you open like a new file and you get all the moves once you start the first level of the game, and that's interesting. It's a lot of the strats in that game are like, who thought of this and how did someone do this? It's really interesting.
I feel like the answer to most strats is nobody came up with it. It just happened.
Yeah.
Like, go back to Hat. That's just gonna be this podcast is like us referencing a Hat in Time.
It's my only point of reference. It's like one of the 2 games that I run.
In Hat, we lagged the game a lot. And because if you lag the game when ledge grabbing, you will clip through walls. And the reason why we know that this happens is because somebody's game lagged while they were ledge grabbing and they clipped through the wall. It was not intentional. They happened to have like caught it on video or something. I don't actually remember it was on video, but they were like,
I wasn't around for that. I don't know
what happened. And that's why it's now like, and it turns out in Hat, if you lag, it makes everything faster. Every trick in Hat is pretty much like you lag the game and then you win.
Yeah, it's wild. People who find glitches do not get enough credit.
It's true. It's very difficult. I tried doing some glitch hunting in BDSP, a hilariously broken game. And all I could figure out was turn off the volume. I just dropped my phone in the ground. I don't know if I got picked up by the mic. Keys, you're done fighting. You have to answer the question now.
Yes, okay. May you repeat the question, please?
I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember the question.
Very good.
Nope, that's the wrong form. What achievement are you most proud of in your speedrunning career?
Okay, good. So there's 2 of them, and they're kind of similar in design, but it's for different reasons. So I remember I told myself I was going to be the world record holder of Pokemon Crystal at one point in time when I first started speedrunning it. And this was back when we were, cavemen that used in-game time and not real time. I got the first 316 in Crystal. It was record by over 2 minutes. So I was super duper proud of myself because that was a multi-year journey at that point in time. Actually, multi-month. It wasn't even a year. I lied. But so I was super proud about that because that was a goal that I set for myself a long time ago. And I actually achieved it after, suffering Pokemon speedrunning forever. My other achievement is pretty similar. So I actually run a hotfix show on GDQ called The First Step, and
time of
the whole
recording,
point
you could
of
listen to
that
it right
show,
after this.
yeah. And the whole point of that show is to show everyone that it's really easy to get into speedrunning. Like you can literally just pick up the game, go fast, and you're a speedrunner. If you want to get more into it, you can get more into it. If you just want to be like a casual speedrunner about it, you can be a casual speedrunner about it. But we did a game called Cat Quest 2. And after we finished the show, oh my goodness. After we finished the show, me and my co-host Jay Hobbs, we were like, hey, I feel like we could probably do better than the record, because we usually watch the record of the game that we do. And oh my goodness, this trick is so hard to do while talking, apparently. But
that's actually our the point of this show, is to make speedrunners do runs while talking about things completely unrelated to the run, and thus making everything take longer.
Yeah,
this is a weird storage trick where I'm kind of storing the momentum of my hook shot, but I am not doing it well.
For those watching on the audio only version of this, this is a weird storage trick where you store the momentum from the hook shot, and Keys is not doing it well. There we go.
Yeah, see, it took a little while. I got it eventually. But yeah, back to the answer. So we watched the record, and the record at the time was like a 1-0 something. I can't remember specifically, but we watched it and we kind of rerouted a couple of things the same night that we did the episode. And then I was like, Hobbs, we can totally be the first people to get a sub hour in this. Let's do this. And so I grinded for the next like 4 or 5 hours that night after having just speedran the game for the very first time and got the first sub hour in it. You can glitch through that, and I did not know that. I learned something. What the hell?
Is that optimal? It doesn't seem good.
It wasted so much time.
All right.
This run's a disaster. What happened?
That's never happened before, TM?
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, I guess the first step is doing it, and the second step is sub 1 hour 5 hours later.
The second step is getting world record. Easy.
Exactly. It's that easy, folks. First you play the game, then you get world record. It's just 2 steps.
I mean, you do have to play the game to get world record. It's just a matter of how long between those 2 steps it is.
It's my least favorite part of speedrunning, though. That's why I reset. Dear PB, the how do you deal with RNG question in the first episode got me thinking. I find it's easier to remain untilted with RNG-heavy games because I know it's outside my control. When errors and execution cost me time, I'm a lot more likely to grump. Can you dive into the pros and cons of playing out dead runs and likely improving more efficiently but at the cost of your mental health versus resetting so you don't break your controller? Do you find this dichotomy to be true? And that is from Octini. Well, I also like RNG-heavy games because I like when things aren't my fault. I like to blame the equipment. And the RNG-heavy games are great for that. The exchange for that is that they are a horrible mental toll when you've done sometimes you do everything right, and often you do everything right, and the game just decides no. So that's the downside.
I mean, we talked earlier about looking for excuses to reset runs. So I mean, we talked about this last week too. It's kind of a matter of, do you want late game practice as well? Like, that might be a reason that you keep a run that you're not super happy about.
That's like the only reason I think I would keep a dead run going is for late game practice.
Yeah, because you can kind of say, all right, this run's dead, I'm not going to PB, but I could at least try and get good times in late game, or like go for golds or something. Sometimes when I just have a dead run, I play a lot more risky because I just want to get a gold in the split or something.
And like, that's why, like, if I just want to do like no resets, I like races better for that. Because it just forces. Because like I won't no reset even if I'm like I'm gonna do a no reset. If at some point I'll often be like, but I'm going to be doing real attempts. But
all right, no reset after this part.
You don't have a choice. Yeah. Exactly. It's like, all right, no, this is the last reset. Low reset.
I mean, Yeah, last night when we recorded this, I was doing a tournament match for Superliminal, and I had a run that I would have resetted if I was not in that match, and then I only missed PB by a second. So sometimes when you think a run is dead, it's not. Other times, yeah, it is, but not necessarily. So I guess it
That's
kind of
another
comes
thing
down to what you think about it.
Another thing with RNG heavy games is that if it's not RNG that like kills the run entirely, there are things you can do to make up for it. Like the game I run, the world record, or the would have been world record, but it wasn't verifiable because the video got messed up. They just hit an optional really early, and instead of just resetting, they were like, "Screw it! I'm just gonna like YOLO pass everything in the game and not wait, and just assume that I'll just make the time back." And they did, and they got world record.
That's kind of how the crystal run I was talking about, like that 316 that I got. That's how that went. I had the most miserable beginning game. I was like 2.5 minutes behind, but it's crystal and spinners are an absolute pain in the ass in that game. And it's like, okay, I'll just keep going. Maybe I'll get lucky. And I definitely got lucky.
So better to be lucky than to be good. That's my whole. Well, actually, my mantra is to neither be lucky nor good. But
true. Yeah, I mean, if you get a run like that where you're, well, yeah, it is. You said it.
It's okay when I say it.
But yeah, if you get a situation like that where you're like already really far behind, you say, "All right, screw it, I'll keep going," and you PB, you know you can save that time, and because you've done it before, so that's always a good feeling when you have like a bad PB in big air quotes because you have time save everywhere else. You can do that. So
corollary to that, which we also might have talked about last time, is that if you are in chat, you do not say time save for next round. It does not feel good to have to be told to you.
Just be the type of person that goes through their PB at the end of every run and say, "All right, that was good, that was good, that was bad, that was good."
Yeah, that's why I run a game with 10 minutes of credit, so I can hyper analyze my own run and then feel bad about it.
I always do that.
Do you have any other like? Oh, right. I skipped the whole question. I'm like, because I tabbed it over a bit, and then thinking that would make me like say, "Oh, here's a follow up to the question, so you can elaborate on it more." But instead, I just didn't read it. Do you have a speed game you've been dying to complain about?
Dying to complain
about.
Oh boy, Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. It's such a fun game if you go into it knowing that like you're probably never gonna actually PB. But
Speaking
if you
of
want a PB or if you want
RNG,
yeah, really.
But if you want a PB or if you want to show it off on, I don't know, say Awesome Games Done Quick 2022 online,
Ooh.
and things go absolutely south.
How about give us some context into why that game in particular has some RNG, let's just say, concerns.
Okay, so it's a card game first and foremost. So there's only so much you can do with that. You can use RNG manipulation. You can, cheat the system, but that's not what I did. I also don't know how to do it properly. When you get later into the game, you get to harder duels and whatnot. The AI legitimately cheats and gets like 20 cards when you only get like 5. So it sure makes it a game. And it cheats. Like I sound like someone who's like capping right now, but no, the game legitimately cheats. Like it's scientifically proven it cheats.
Like, why making smarter card game AI is hard, but cheating is very easy.
Just give them the advantage and call it more difficult.
Yeah. It's like world recording is very hard, but cheating is very easy, and that's why we have leaderboard verification.
So are you suggesting to cheat?
I'm not suggesting to cheat. I'm simply saying it is easy. If I did things because they were easy, then I wouldn't do any of the things that I do because I do dumb, difficult, annoying things. Like,
true.
Okay, that's not true. I am podcasting, which is easy, but let me go grab another question because I will never pull enough of
Lots
these.
of questions.
At what point would you say a runner is marathon ready? I wasn't. Wait, what? I wasn't too. I can't figure out. Sorry. I should have read this ahead of time. Oh, okay. At what point would you say a runner is marathon ready? I want to eventually submit to some smaller events in marathon, but I'm unsure how to assess that I am ready to be able to adequately present the run. I think they submitted this on their phone.
Yeah.
And so a lot of autocorrect stuff. Sorry about that. Okay, should I read the whole thing again, or do we get that?
I think I get the gist.
Basically, how do you figure out that you are ready to submit to a marathon as a runner?
And that is from Anonymous, who submitted a bunch of things this week. Thanks, Anonymous.
Wow,
Anonymous is so into the show.
I know, that's so cool.
Biggest fan. For me personally, I don't know. I wish I could give like an actual solid answer for this one, because this is like a really good question, especially for people that are like getting into speedrunning and want to submit stuff. A lot of my submissions are just like comfort level submissions where I know that if I'm asked a question about the game at any point in time, I could give, maybe 95+% of the answers for any questions. And when it comes down to the actual like execution of the run, whatever I feel is a decent estimate, like I'll make sure that I do runs and like my average is below that estimate. That way, if something goes horribly wrong in an actual marathon setting, at least I know I can finish.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel about it too. It's like, would I feel like, am I at a point where like I could do a run even if I make some small mistakes? I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna meet estimate and then like, or at least be close to estimate, be able to finish the run and not walk away feeling like I did feel like I did like I represented the game poorly, I guess.
Yeah.
So how do you compare your time versus like a top time in relation to that? Like, is there like kind of like a cutoff in your head where you say, okay, my time's good enough?
It depends on the game, right?
Usually for me, it's like if I'm like top 10 or something, then that's not even like a question that I have. If I'm lower than top 10, then I kind of ask myself, what can I provide for the run? Because sometimes marathons are like really good showcases for the skill level, and sometimes marathons are just like showcases for the game, and the entertainment factor is a little more important. Which, this is my opinion. I'm not speaking for GDQ, obviously, but like in my experience, GDQ's definitely gotten more towards the entertainment factor than the actual, like, you don't necessarily have to be like the best runner of the game as long as like the showcase is going to be good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a career commentator, like I'm like 95th in hat because I just simply have not grinded it out, but I've commentated a ton of hat because I can explain all the high level things. I'm just not good at executing them consistently.
Right.
And so like that's kind of like I'm like marathon ready for hat commentary. I've done a ton of hat commentary, and have been generally told that my hat commentary is pretty good. But
and I mean, it's usually for me running, which I'm also not the best runner. I'm top 20 in a game of about 600 runners, which is good, but I'm still a couple minutes off road record. But I still feel that, one, I'm one of the few people that like actively run the game and submit to marathons, which is decent.
Yeah.
And I know a lot about the game. So
like, I think the bar for marathon ready is, or for commentary ready is going to be lower, as long as you can like explain all of the like details of the game and like have experience. But actually, I don't know. You don't even need experience for it. I've commentated games I don't run.
Yeah, you don't need to run a game to be able to commentate it.
I'm commentating a game I don't run directly after this.
Sometimes not knowing about a game makes for really good commentary too, because you get a live reaction of the tricks and stuff.
Yeah,
and you can kind of provide that.
I don't run. But yeah, I think like it like I think you also I don't want to put like a leaderboard placement on it, because like I think that makes sense for some games, but not for others. Like if their game has like, I'm gonna go back to Hat again. This is my only frame of reference for things that aren't just like RPGs.
Hat in
People are gonna get
Time
so
or
sick.
Pokemon.
This podcast is actually sluicing my like diabolical plan to backdoor Hat knowledge into the speedrunning community.
True, it's a good game.
It's a very good
It
game.
also got overshadowed by a Nintendo game, so
Yeah.
relatable.
What a relatable feeling as I play Under Lilies.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it came out like 2 weeks after Odyssey or 2 weeks before Odyssey. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But like for Hat, I would not consider myself marathon ready for Hat, but like you were saying, like you're a couple minutes behind world record, but world record's ridiculous too.
Right.
But like some of the strategies that world record do, you can't do on keyboard or on controller, for example.
That's fun.
Something like nonsense stuff like that. But like you do enough of the high level stuff that I would say you're like far past marathon ready.
Right. Plus, I've done it in marathons enough, so obviously I know my commentary by myself is also fine. So
like Howard Records, like 34 or something.
It's a mid
right?
34, and I have
Mid
a
34?
low 37. So
Yeah, and anyone below 40 minutes, I would say, is like completely ready
Good.
because
yeah,
all the stuff after that is like extremely marginal stuff that just adds up.
right.
You can do the bulk of, and like there's enough cool stuff to show off,
Mhm.
and you are consistent enough at doing the cool stuff that like it's pretty much at that point a lot of your time save is like in like adding more stuff that saves 4 to 5 seconds.
Right. I mean, and also, just because you're good at a game doesn't mean you're good at commentary for it.
That is also true. Yes.
You might be good at a game, but you might just know how to do the tricks. Be like, oh yeah, I do this because it's done. And it's like, okay, but like, talk more about it, you know?
And I think if you're good at a game and not good at commentary, that doesn't mean you're not necessarily marathon ready, as long as you're able to provide good commentators.
Yeah, that too. There's a lot of aspects.
Yeah, like I definitely know people who I've commentated for that are like great runners but not good at commentary, but I'm a mediocre runner who's good at commentary, and so it just kind of you pick up other people's faults, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to have a good team.
Yeah, exactly. There's no I in speedrun. I almost said
Definitely had to think about saying speedrunning.
Shut up.
There's no I in marathon commentary.
That is true.
I had to actually spell that out in my head. Yes, I can confirm.
Thought about it before I said it.
There's no I in marathon ready.
True.
But there is an I in
world record. I
got world record.
Anyways.
That's actually going to be the episode title is I got world record, just a clickbait. But yeah, I would say like I think it like the like frame of reference I think I have for am I marathon ready is like, do I feel like I would paint the community or like paint the game badly by doing a run because I'm not experienced with it enough? Like, will people get the wrong impression for what a speed run of this game looks like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen runs of the game of games that were not marathon ready, and it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, and like in situations like that, you get like this is maybe a more anxiety prone way of viewing it that is maybe good necessarily.
It's better to be over ready than not ready.
Yeah,
or like barely ready.
Like if I did a Hat marathon run right now, in my absurdly rusted state, having not actually like grinded down a time at all, that I would walk away being like someone else, like or like almost anyone above me could have done a better job. Versus like I don't know, or like I don't know how to describe this in a way that's like that makes sense. You all get what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to say.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want to walk away like making the community of the game, people I'm friends with, being like, okay,
Wow, you suck. How could you?
not even that. It's more like this doesn't represent like what an average no reset run of this game would look like.
Right.
Because that's what I think. Like, your marathon run doesn't have to be a flawless, perfect, amazing PB attempt run. It just has to be representative of an average run, right? And an average run might be okay, but as long as it's okay, then you're fine.
Yeah, it's a matter of being good enough, not the best.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's a lot to consider, but it's not as stressful as it might seem.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There are still some considerations to have.
We're using a lot of words to essentially say, I don't know, man, it's kind of a vibe. When you feel the vibes right, then you're good.
Yeah.
Let me go into my backup list.
Treasure trove of questions.
This is we got like what, 12 minutes left in this run? 15?
Yeah, 15.
15? All right. What's the best way to practice commentary for a marathon, either as a commentator or a runner?
I hate being stereotypical, but I mean, practice makes perfect. Like, the best way to get better at commentary is just practice doing it. It's kind of hypocritical for me personally to say that, because most of my marathon runs in any marathon, whether it's, a bigger marathon, a smaller marathon, or even just my own stream stuff, I don't practice. I really should.
Same.
I hate practicing. Yeah.
I don't like practicing. Never been a practicer.
What I do to practice, it's called doing runs.
Yeah, do a run.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's hard.
I can't tell you how many times, like, whether it's commentary or like playing a game or anything, I can't tell you how many times Emre has gone to me and has said, you know how much better you'd be at X game if you actually practiced. I'm just like, yeah, this is true.
But you also would need to practice.
Exactly. You'd be better off at the game, but worse off mentally. And if you think, and this is, I think in the last year and a half, we've all really understood the value of self-care, and practicing is not self-care. That's another good episode title.
Sometimes it is. I mean, this is not discouraging practicing, but if you're practicing and hating yourself for doing it, don't.
Yes. I will not. I definitely do practice sometimes. Don't get me wrong.
Practice is bad. TM.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't practice in the sense of I'm not going to practice one section of a run. I'll practice a trick so I know how to do it, but that's about it.
So
wow, that was a lot of damage.
Yeah, so that was weird. So sometimes if you use certain abilities in this game, you actually lag the enemy. So if I didn't use the abilities, then that enemy's timing would have been exactly the way that I predicted. But because I used an ability that focuses on stunning, it took a little while to decide to smack me. So, and the worst part is I got punished. Normally, if you're doing this in like a safe way, there's a room that you enter that has like an emergency like heal. And I did not do that. I told myself I'm not going to die. And then I proceeded to die.
I always say never punished when I don't get punished, because I like to ignore all the times that I do get punished, which is most of them.
The room that I just went to the left into was the backup room. It was that easy to get a backup, and I didn't do it.
So, who needs backups?
But getting back on topic, the best way to practice is to just do it.
Is to practice.
Yeah, and something that I found helped me a lot, and this is very community dependent, but if your community is doing any sort of events that needs commentary, volunteer.
Yeah.
I did a lot of commentary for the hat tournament.
Me too.
Which is, like, I did a lot of commentary for the hat tournament, and as a result, learned a lot about the game because I was commentating alongside very experienced runners who could correct me when I said stuff that was dumb and wrong. And I'm no longer. Do. Okay. I do a little bit. I have a couple of misconceptions that I keep forgetting, but I'm largely on the level now. And then we did a thing in the Pokemon community called Barrier Blitz, which is like break the record. What is it called? Smash the record?
Break the record live.
Break the record. Yeah, that one. It's pretty much exactly that. And I ended up commentating like 12 hours of Let's Go in 2 days. And because at this point I had commentated more Let's Go than I have run of it, and now now I'm real good at commentating Let's Go. And so like there are opportunities to commentate if your community is large enough. You can also just like organize stuff yourself. Like I know somebody who organized in the Pokemon Red community who was organizing races and just commentating them in their own channel like a tournament sort of format, just like arbitrary races, but just wanted to get better at commentating, and just was like, hey, would anybody be interested in racing and let me commentate it? People were like, yeah, that sounds cool. And so they did it, and then that's a way to practice.
Yeah, people like showing off their run in other formats. And I mean, you can also just do if you're like a runner getting ready for commentary, just do a couple no resets on stream or something and just commentate them like you were in a marathon. And if you mess up, that's fine, because there really aren't any stakes. And you can say, okay, I should figure out how to explain XYZ better.
Yeah.
And then you go in and do that. So
something I've done that like kind of helps too is like I have done commentary of a game I run in a like tutorial setting of like some people were starting to run the game after having watched me do it and asked for like advice. And so I did a stream where I just commentated exactly what I was thinking, which is not always great commentary, like in terms of like a marathon, because it's pretty dry, but it is good practice for being able to explain what's going on and making sure that you like have the ability to explain what you're doing and it's not pure muscle memory. You no longer remember why you do the things that you do. Because like that's definitely something that there's a point where you're like, wait, why do I do this again? I deleted it from my notes, and also I had not thought about it
because you do it.
Yeah, so like that's a good way, I think, to just make sure that you like have the ability to explain. Because like there's two purposes to commentary, right? There's the entertainment purpose, and then there's the educational purpose of it. And they kind of go hand in hand in that a lot of people find the educational purpose of it very entertaining in itself because they like learning. People like to learn stuff. And then also because the run is more interesting when you know what the heck's actually going on and what exactly you should follow. And so if you only focus on one aspect of that, then you might get really, really good at entertaining commentary, but you might have the Corvame commentates games that she doesn't run syndrome, where people are like, maybe you can talk about the run, please, a little bit. But then if you only talk about the game itself or like if you just dryly explain the game, then that's not super engaging commentary. That's just a college lecture. So there's multiple things you can practice, and the only way to really get better at it is to do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Like Adidas.
Why is it this run that I got a phase skip on this? What a scam.
You need to make up time. That's like what we were saying earlier. Is like when your run's falling behind, you do more risky stuff to make up time, like skipping phases.
Get things that you don't know exist, and then just get world record on that.
Yeah.
Easy.
You also found elevator walkthrough. That's pretty big tech.
I've never seen a single person do what I did. So
elevator walkthrough.
Yeah, elevator walkthrough. The trick that saves no time and actually makes things worse for you. Courtesy of me.
Those are the best tricks.
So as an example of the things that I just talked about, Keys will now narrate exactly what he is doing for the next 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Well, there is about 5 minutes.
You don't have any more content.
And if you're shut up, and if you're listening to this and not watching it, you should be able to picture in your mind's eye exactly what's going on in Ender Lilies. I don't remember the subtitle.
Quietest of the Nights, I think. Oh god.
Quietest of the Nights.
Yes. Oh no. Okay, so this is what happened. I died. Very good.
Right, wow, you just got one shot. Just 400
so here's my little secret, right? I mentioned earlier that I do 100% of this more than this particular category. 100% allows you to have enough health to not get ganked that quickly. So, pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm at a point where those projectiles do 159 damage and I have 140 health.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, so I'm doing a little bit of a backup strat where I'm doing the last sub spirit before the final boss, slightly out of order because it's faster now that I died to do it than to put it off. So that's neat, I guess.
Yeah, this is the result of me being like, please pick a run that is like an hour and a half or less, because every time we do this, I pull an extra question, and it is still not nearly enough content to fill the amount of time because we don't go into detail enough. The only way to get better at podcasting is to really just do it. Like, you just have to
True.
practice.
Yeah. If you want to
and
be a podcaster, do it.
do it. You can, but don't compete with us.
Okay.
But you can do it if you want to. But like, we will come for you. But you're fine.
Oh.
We respect you as fellow competitors in the field, but don't do it.
Competitors of the field.
Now, see, I feel kind of bad because you were like, "Hey, let's talk about what this game's about real quick. Let's give everyone who can't see this a visualization. Here's my visualization.
I died.
I'm a girl wearing white, and
Okay.
everything in the background is red, pink, and purple.
This
I can't see.
This is that section.
Yeah, there's one boss
No,
I did earlier too that was like that, and this is actually way better than that section.
Oh my god. I could see
It's
how like
horrible.
you would miss the also like not be able to see the projectiles here, as they are in fact red on red.
Yeah, so the only reason I know that a projectile is about to hit me is because I'll stare at the enemy fish and then they'll like pause and I'll be like, oh, well, they're pausing because they're about to shoot me.
Oh, because you can't even, can you not see their eye thing either?
Oh god, oh god, oh god. Okay, I should be fine. I see them glow. I see them glow. Yeah. There's one boss that I beat that was in the underwater section of this area, and underwater is also red, and the boss is also red. I have complained about this one a lot to people before. The only way that I can beat that boss confidently is making sure I land one hit and I see his health bar above his head. If I don't see his health bar, I don't know where he is.
Oh man, you need a colorblind like back patch.
This game is the perfect example of visual accessibility.
Yeah,
and what not to do.
Accessibility is cool, y'all. If you're a game developer, you should make your games accessible.
You should also be on our podcast.
You should also be in our podcast if you're a game developer and also speedrun.
Yeah.
Actually, if you're a game developer and you don't speedrun, but people speedrun your game, you could also be in our podcast. That's cool too.
So
hit us up at dearpb@maybreak.com. In fact, if you have questions that you want us to answer, please send them in to our form, link in the notes below, or the YouTube description, or to dearpb@maybreak.com, DERPB@MAYBREAK.com. We need so many questions, guys. What?
You definitely said DER.
DEER.
No,
force.
Wrong deer.
DEAR.
There you go.
No, the final boss is almost dead, and I didn't see the fish's projectile because colorblind.
Oh, yep.
Oh no.
That's okay. I'm just showing people that can see what's going on, what not to do.
So we actually had keys here for a PSA, and that PSA is about color deficiency awareness. Because as somebody who does not have color deficiency, this is a lot of red.
It really is.
This is so much red.
It's
like the current patches of this, I'm on patch 103, which is technically the fastest patch to play on, but a couple of the bosses are a little harder because they did get nerfed because they did realize that the bosses were a little ridiculous. Current patches, which are 110 and higher, I believe the current patch as of today is 115. They changed the contrast, so it's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. It's enough to where I can kind of see things.
That's something.
That's better than nothing. What if it wasn't red or green?
Oh, I'd probably be much better off.
Yeah. Wait, Swiss, what do you see? Is it a mess for you?
It's okay. It's a little rough.
I guess if you're colorblind, and they're all red, that's not going to be as bad as
Yeah.
color deficiency
I
in
mean,
terms of
like I
making
said,
things out.
mine is very mild, but I know people that have pretty severe
Yeah.
color vision deficiencies, so
Is
it's
that
definitely
time?
difficult.
That was time. Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
nailed that
Hey.
on my end. I need a
Yeah.
warning for this.
Don't worry. I had a timer up this whole time. Yay.
Nice.
It
Yay!
was 1:12:16 real time, 1:10:31 loadless, because this is a game on a computer and not having a loadless timer would be kind of wild.
I have
Yeah.
1:12:29 on my time, but I'm also very far in the past. But the timer is not very far in the past, so
It's all right.
a little off sync there, but it's cool.
There are a couple of things I would like to point out real quick that I didn't point out. One, because of focus, and two, because we got really caught up in answering questions, on account of this being a podcast, of course.
That's crazy.
If anyone is watching this and you kind of want to rewind a little bit, I don't have timestamps, but there are a couple of parts that were kind of notable. There is one part where I entered that crypt-like area and I bounced off a spider onto a ledge. That is a damage boost that skips about 2 or 3 minutes of stuff. There's the hook shot glitch thing that I messed
cool.
up for about a whole minute, but it
Mhm.
stores your momentum and launches you. I don't understand how it works. It's been patched out. It's the only time you ever do that trick. Yeah, like it saves like 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. So like there are two like minor glitches that save a ton of time. And then everything else was basically spam spirit, use your ultimate, which is known as last rites in this. Aline good because old patch. Current patch, Aline got nerfed. I don't understand why you would nerf a single player game thing, but that's fine.
You gotta make it hard, or else is it really a game?
Yeah.
One last question that we like to ask all of our runners at the end of our show, and that is, what do you have to advertise? Where can people find you?
I'm really easy to find. If you Google Keizaron, Keizaron, you will find basically everything. If you don't want to Google and you just want to put your favorite social media site, whether twitch.tv/ or twitter.com/ or youtube.com/ or any of that, it's 99.9% me. The only place that you won't find me with my name for some reason is Neopets, because someone took my Neopets name.
Really?
Unfair.
Really?
File a complaint.
There is someone named Keizaron on Neopets that isn't me. I know exactly who it is, and I'm forever upset at him for it. But I'm more
that's
upset.
Identity theft.
I'm less
Honestly.
upset that I got my name taken, and more upset at the fact that he doesn't remember the username. Well, not using the email and password associated with
God.
it, so it's gone
just
forever.
Stuck in the ether.
Terrible.
It's just stuck. The void.
You can find links in the description or in the notes. Once again, this has been Dear PB, a podcast where we don't make you become a better speedrunner. If you have questions, send them into the form that's in the link, that's in the description, or the notes. I should just call it the description, or I should just pick one.
Yeah, probably should.
And also, you can also send your emails into DERPB @MAY.
You keep saying DER.com.
Do I really?
Yes.
All right. Well, there's gonna be links. I'll put that in the description too. That way, I don't have to say it. You can also follow us on Twitter at DearPBPod, or on YouTube at the bad YouTube link that is below. That's a bunch of numbers and letters. And thank you for being on, Keys, to show us Quietus of the Nidus Ender Lilies. I will not say it right.
Quietus of the Nidus.
You did it in reverse order, but it somehow sounds better that way.
I kind of like that.
Game's cheap on Steam. If it looks fun, trust me, it's a fun casual game. It's like $20-$25 right now. It goes on sale like every other month. It's worth.
I don't know how to end shows.
Have you thought of like the Porky Pig? Like, that's all, folks, with the like closing spiral animation effect.
Yeah. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. All right, well, we nailed that. That was awesome.
That was perfect.
Perfect.
Everything went perfectly.